So let's have a chat about harmony and the paradox of diversity in harmony. So in harmony, it's about joining others in their model of the world, making sure that we experience life from that person's perspective. So let's just have a look at this. This is a place where those who suspect they're innately wise, brilliant and powerful come to learn how to transform their lives, one cognition, one realization and one blinding flash of the obvious at a time. We are the innovators, the record breakers, the world makers and creators of all kinds. We supersede the suppressive worldview of mass ignorance and awaken the strength within. We are waking up to our innate secrets. My name is Dr. Mark Postles and welcome to the Innate Secrets podcast. So harmony is the area that's most important for the quadrant 3 part of us. It's important for the quadrant 3 to have everyone involved. The right back part of the brain is the collective. It's where we go into our herd instinct. It's where we make sure that everyone is looked after, that relationships are preserved, and that there's harmony between all. So this is an interesting area because it's about, there's upsides and there's downsides to harmony, and it's hugely diverse because harmony in our world reflects the harmony within. So let's just start and have a look at that first, and then we'll build it out from there. So I would suggest that when there's harmony within us, there is harmony within our world. So in other words, we can tolerate what appears to be disharmony to some people if we have harmony within. So let's just have a look firstly then at the state of harmony within, and if we're feeling at peace with ourselves and we have all of our quadrants firing so that we can see the world from a multi-perspective viewpoint, then our tolerance for the world becomes greater. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we are allowing the world to have bizarre behaviors and bizarre situations and that it's all is okay. And this is the paradox of it, because it is okay and it's not okay, and we'll look at how this works. So from a neurological perspective then, there are certain things that we need. There's certain aspects that we have to have as a human being at our physical body level. The 4 things are within the 4 quadrants. So the firstly is that quadrant 1 part, which likes to have variety and fun. In fact, it likes uncertainty. It likes the possibilities. It likes the fantasy and the dreams. And you see children as they're developing that, they're 2 and 3 and 4 years old, their fantasy takes them into all sorts of fascinating places. They assume all sorts of different characters as an exploration. It's a state of uncertainty. They don't know. They just trust. They just go with it and they flow. They'll fall over. They'll pick themselves back up again and carry on. And so that variety, that testing this and touching that and playing with this and playing with that and finding out what happens when we do this and that, that's a discovery phase, and it's filled with fun. Everything is fun. It's joyful. The opposite of that is the quadrant 2 phase. That's where we pass our information through the quadrant 2, and that's where we pull on our history. So the history wants to have certainty. And so we need the balance to the uncertainty, and that is certainty. So that could be a home, our room, if we're young, our toys, or if we're old, our toys too. It wants to have a house. It wants to have our partner. It feels certain with certain things that are very familiar and they create habits and there's patterns there. So, driving to work to the same job in the same way is part of certainty. And so those 2 opposing parts then are also joined with 2 other opposing parts, and that is the harmony part, which is quadrant 3, which is love and connection, and that's wanting support. It's wanting hugs. It's wanting to be felt, to feel good. It's a kinesthetic area. And that's opposed by significance. So the significant part of us wants to have identity. It wants to, that's the quadrant 4 part. It wants to be identified as someone of substance, or someone who's worthy of note. So we like to have a certain address, behind or in front of our name. We like to have the accolades and the prizes and the trophies and so forth. That identity that comes with that quadrant 4 part. So within that, then we've got those 4 areas. As the we want uncertainty, and that's the spice of life. We want certainty, and that's the substance of stability in life. We want the love and connection, which is the people in our life. And we also want to have identity and stand out from the crowd, and be recognized and have significance. So each of those then are essential components, if you like, of a harmonious self and or a harmonious relationship. So that when the one part is missing, it becomes problematic. In other words, if people get together and in a relationship, and there's harmony there because there's fun and variety, and and they've got each other as a partner, so there's a certainty to it, and then they love and support each other, and they idolize those parts of each other that are amazing. We've got those 4 parts all working. Now, after a period of time, as the honeymoon is over and things start to get into normal activity, maybe things can get a bit mundane, the saving and working hard and so forth, and so the uncertainty starts to go out of it. The variety starts to leave the relationship, and so there's a void there, and there's a tendency for us to find that variety elsewhere. And so if it's not in one form, it'll be in another. If it's not in the individual, we'll tend to find it in our partner. So that's where partnerships start to morph. And so what brings us together very rarely is what keeps us together. So we start to lose sight of the variety that took place in the initial stages, and we find variety then in other areas if it's not within our partner. So it could be in work, it could be in sports, it could be in all sorts of other attractions. Likewise, if the certainty goes out of it, then we tend to find that in other areas. We find love and connection maybe in other areas, and it may not be at a level of betrayal in terms of romantic, but it could be in terms of connecting and support with people in a work environment or in a team environment and so forth. So got the idea. So there's a certain base needs, which are these 4 quadrants. And when one is missing in a relationship, when in fact there's nothing ever missing, but if it is perceived to be missing, then we'll bring in a greater relationship in order to fulfill that part. So that's the relationship then is an extension of ourself. And we will always find the missing parts elsewhere, or the perceived missing parts elsewhere. So what's interesting about relationships, though, is that we are attracted by sameness, and we tend to stay together with the difference. And the differences are the real binding factors, I think, in harmonious relationships. And that's what keeps people together, because they appreciate the differences. So often we find ourselves seeking the company of those that are like us and like what we like and see the world as we do. And we actually are creating a rather bland sort of relationship, which, depending on where we're coming from, is going to be quite chaotic or quite unproductive or quite hostile. So it depends on what our likes are, and if we do find a person that likes exactly what we like and are like we like, if we do stay together for any period of time, we start to morph anyway. We start to shift to balance out for the other. And it's sort of like an orchestra. An orchestra is a whole group of different instruments. It's not all the same instrument, all playing the same song. We want harmony. We want difference to make that truly rich. So an appreciation of the differences is the key, and embracing the differences. So, if we have a company or a team that is just a bunch of yes people, it's a sure way to grind the relationship of those people to a halt. So, two or more people singing the same notes is just a loud noise. So imagine if you're like highly expressive and do high quadrant 1, you like difference and variety, and if you bring in a team of the same sort of people, well, you're going to have a good time, but I doubt whether you get much done in the organisation department. So making sure then that there is a downside and there's a cost of harmony if it's harmony for sameness sake. And it's lowered productivity, it's lowered creativity, it's lowered harmony itself, and it's an oxymoron in itself. So trying to keep the peace is really, really tiring. And it's not about that. It's about having difference, it's about embracing difference, it's about seeing the difference in another person and allowing oneself to work with that difference by joining their model of the world. So there's a challenge here then in any group, any relationship, or even within yourself, to appreciate the dark side, to appreciate the shadow, to appreciate the not me part, and allow that to be as it is. And it's not about fixing it by making it work better. It's about managing for it. So observe what your strengths are. Observe who you are at your best. Where's your superpower? What is it that you do really, really well? And then who do you need around you to augment that? So let's just summarize this. Maybe a few to-dos on this one is if you're as an individual or as a relationship or as a team, then look at every essential task and job and service and identify it. Identify the roles and responsibilities that you've got within that organization. That could be, that organization could be just you, or it could be an organization of thousands. It doesn't matter. Establish what the tasks and jobs and the JDs and so forth are. And then select a profile of the character traits and the skills that will be best required to service that role or responsibility in a state of excellence. So making sure that if that's your forte, then jump into it, and that's got your name all over it. But if it's not your forte, then the question has to come: well, who is the who? Who's the who to fill it? Who can do this particular role that is not my high preference? And as an individual, you would outsource that. In a relationship, it's probably going to be in-house because it's someone else. If you're strong in one area, your partner is highly likely to be strong in the opposite area, because that's how we morph as a relationship. So if it's a group or a team, obviously you select according to that. You always hire according to the gaps. You're looking for harmony in the team, but that means hiring people who are very dissimilar to everyone else in the team. And then you make sure that the procedures and policies and the scripts and everything that makes the thing work are there for every function. And that includes your life. There's certain things that you put that have to be done at certain times during the day or the hour or the week or the month or the year. So have it written out, have it on your diary, so that you know that the insurance gets paid twice a year and the rates get paid at certain times, and all those things that if they don't get done, life starts to become troublesome. And so you allow for yourself to be proceduralized. If it's a business, if it's a team, obviously you take it to the next level. So, but it's still about procedures and policies and scripts if necessary. So that But the important thing on this one is to ensure that the procedures are tied to the overarching values, that always you've got a why for doing a given procedure. You're doing something because it adds to the purpose of your, or assists in the purpose of your life, or of the endeavor of the relationship, or the group. And then obviously put time and energy, money, resources into drilling down the aspects of a function, so that look at what it is that you want to create in your life, and make sure that you're allocating time, energy, and money to improving that, and to learning more about it, and to becoming better at it. And likewise in a relationship, look at the areas of the relationship that may be a bit sketchy. Is it the quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is it do you have enough uncertainty in your marriage or relationship? Or do you have enough certainty? Do you have enough love and connection? Do you have enough significance? So look at each of those and identify which you might want to work on to manage in a given time frame. And sometimes it may be a year dedicated to a certain area. Other times it may just be a few months, or maybe just a seminar or workshop, or a session with someone who's got that part of their life nailed. So that's the dynamic nature of this. Harmony is not just a place that we get to. It's a state that we're in. It's a state that we are constantly evolving. We're identifying, we're getting more content on, more data on, we're playing with and experimenting with, and then we're reinventing it. We're going to another level again with it. So, ensure that harmony is embracing the disharmony, and that's the disharmony that relates within you and within others. And when you do embrace it, then it becomes harmonious. So that's the crazy part about it. That's the weird aspect of this, is that embracing the disharmony creates harmony, and then you can orchestrate it and know that everyone is different to you. So there's no two people exactly the same, and that's what makes up this beautiful tapestry of life, is that the differences bring the harmony, they bring the context and the color and the juice in life. So have fun with this one. Harmony is a beautiful thing to see. When you see it, you know it's. When it's not there, you know it too. And so just look inside and say, okay, where am I going to embrace this paradox of diversity and harmony, and join others in their model of the world? Let us show you how to fire your brain in ways that serve you, so that you can be confident, connected, and bring joy and passion into what you do every day. Get a free copy of my book, The Innate Model. Go to theinnatemodel.com/free book.